Hey, welcome to Newspresso. I'm Kavya. Vikram, honest answer. How's the news treating you today?
I'm Vikram, and honestly, it's a mixed bag. It's Friday, July 3rd, 2026, and there are a few stories here that are surprisingly tense, even when they look calm on the surface.
All right. First up, that Doha meeting between the U.S. and Iran. Quiet room, quiet diplomacy, and somehow a lot of very loud stakes.
That's exactly it. What people don't remember is how much of this is being handled indirectly, with Qatar and Pakistan mediating separate talks, not some dramatic face-to-face summit.
And yet the summary says there was positive progress on parts of the Islamabad Memorandum of Understanding, which itself was built on the Lake Lucerne summit. That's a lot of diplomatic layering.
It is, and the substance matters, reopening shipping lanes, unlocking frozen assets, and sketching a path to a final deal on Iran's nuclear program.
I keep thinking about the tone difference. Washington wants leverage kept in the mix, while Tehran is pressing for clarity on prior commitments and the speedy use of frozen funds for essential goods.
That's the pattern here actually. Both sides are talking, but neither side is surrendering anything yet.
President Trump publicly called the talks good progress too, though he framed it as denuclearization progress. No direct high-level talks though.
No, that part remains off the table, and the next round is supposed to be scheduled after the funeral ceremonies for the late Iranian Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei.
So if you zoom out, this is less problem solved and more the door is still open.
Exactly, and the room is still tense.
Which brings us neatly to oil, because the market seems to be reading that same opening of the door.
Right. Brent around $70 to $71 a barrel, WTI near 68. The market is clearly pricing in a calmer short-term outlook.
And that's with exports through the Strait of Hormuz recovering, which is such a loaded phrase given everything tied to that corridor.
What people don't remember is how sensitive oil is to even a hint of reduced disruption. When shipments resume, the fear premium can fade fast.
The summary says UAE exports are back near pre-war levels, and Fujairah shipments to the Gulf of Oman help reduce choke point risk. That matters.
It does. Add in a more dovish tone from major economies and stronger non-OPEC plus supply, especially from the US, and prices get some downward pressure.
But the warning is still there. Any setback in the talks or renewed hostilities could push prices back up again.
Which is why traders are smiling only cautiously. The peace is fragile and temporary, not settled.
So regular people feel the relief at the pump maybe, but the political weight hasn't gone anywhere.
Exactly. Every barrel still travels with a political headline attached.
Okay, shifting gears. This one feels messier in a very different way. Mahua Moitra filming from a third-floor window while eggs and vegetables are being thrown outside is just a lot.
And the allegation is serious. She says BJP workers orchestrated it while police watched.
The TMC leaders echoed that, and they're pointing to a broader pattern of egg-throwing incidents in Bengal.
And that's where the Calcutta High Court angle becomes important. It has already pressed the state to curb this kind of violence and file action taken reports.
Akhilesh Yadav also jumped in, calling it a poisonous climate of political violence. That's pretty blunt.
He was blunt because the issue is bigger than one incident. The argument is about intimidation, opposition space, and whether the state government is using power to pressure rivals.
The BJP and the state government both denied responsibility, which, unsurprisingly, means everyone's blaming everyone else.
That part is almost predictable now.
What stands out to me is the role of the courts. If they're already talking about guidelines to prevent egg pelting and make transport safe for accused persons, then the legal system is clearly watching this closely.
Yes, and that tells you the issue isn't being treated as just a rowdy protest. It's being read as a law and order problem.
And maybe a democratic one too, if elected representatives are saying police protection didn't prevent a siege.
That's the heart of it.
All right, from political chaos to financial calm, or at least calm-looking charts, gold is sliding.
Societe General's note is pretty specific. Gold could head toward the October low zone, roughly $1,820 to $1,850 per ounce.
And the technical setup sounds ugly. Broken short-term moving averages, chart patterns that often precede more downside.
That's right. But the macro backdrop is also doing the work here. A stronger US dollar, rising real yields, and cooler expectations for near-term Fed rate cuts.
So the non-yield asset is getting squeezed from multiple sides.
Exactly. And the geopolitical risk premium that helped gold earlier in the year has faded.
I always find that interesting. The same world tension that lifts gold can also evaporate from the price once markets get used to it.
Markets are cold that way. If gold breaks below that support zone, the next stop could be around 1800 or lower.
But if it holds?
Then the longer uptrend may still be intact. The note makes clear this is technical, not destiny.
A very unromantic way to describe gold.
The market rarely romances anyone.
Okay, now to Mumbai, and this is such a classic monsoon picture, except it never feels classic when you're stuck in it.
No, the IMD issued red alerts for Palghar and orange alerts for Mumbai and Thane, which means heavy to very heavy rainfall at isolated places.
And the city paid for it immediately. Waterlogged roads, slower commutes, trains delayed, flights diverted.
Central and western suburban lines ran with delays, harbour services had brief suspensions, and 3 inbound flights were diverted before returning.
Schools in Palghar were closed as a precaution too. That's the kind of decision that tells you officials are taking the warning seriously.
And they should. The summary says reservoir inflows rose and Powai Lake swelled, which is always a sign that the system is under pressure.
So the travel chaos may not be over.
Not yet. Officials are asking residents to monitor updates and avoid flooded areas. That's the practical advice.
It's funny because this reminds me of how Mumbai always runs on this edge between routine and disruption.
That's the city. One heavy spell and everything tilts.
And then, as if the rain wasn't enough, there's the Chembur tree tragedy. That one is devastating.
It is. A peepal tree uprooted and fell onto a school bus, killing 11-year-old Vihan Srivastava and injuring 4 others.
A child on a school bus. That detail lands hard.
The BMC has ordered a detailed probe and suspended an assistant garden superintendent, which suggests they're looking directly at negligence.
Residents say they warned authorities about old and weak trees before the monsoon, but nothing happened.
And that's the bigger issue. This isn't just one tree. It's about whether trees are being properly audited, trimmed and managed before heavy rains.
The family is now demanding accountability, even criminal action if negligence is found.
Mayor Ritu Tavde visited the site and the hospital, and MPs and state ministers have also called for action.
So the pressure's coming from every direction, public, political and administrative.
As it should, the incident echoes earlier tree falls and warnings that weren't acted on.
And if there's one thing the story makes painfully clear, it's that monsoon safety isn't just about drains and traffic. It's also about what's standing above people's heads.
Exactly. Maintenance is part of public safety.
All right. Let's breathe a bit and go to sports. Though this one also had a ton of drama. The US beating Bosnia 2-0 after a red card is wild.
It is, especially because Balogun scored right before halftime, then later got that studs-up challenge on Tarek Muhremovic, upgraded to a straight red.
So from hero to oh no in the space of one match.
That's one way to put it. But the bigger story is that the US held together after going down to 10 men.
Tillman's free kick sounds like the kind of moment fans replay forever.
A fierce one into the top corner. That sealed the 2-0 win and sent the Americans into the round of 16.
And this was only their 3rd win in the tournament, right? Plus they become only the 2nd team to win a World Cup knockout game since 2002.
Correct. It reflects a braver approach under Mauricio Pochettino.
The next step is Belgium in Seattle, which feels like a very different level of stress.
It does. And the focus now is on Balogun's availability after the red card.
So the team gets the result, but not without a headache.
That's tournament football. The result is the only mercy.
Speaking of tournament football and relief, Mexico ending a 40-year knockout drought is huge.
Huge. Yes. Julian Quinones opened the scoring. Raul Jimenez made it 2-0 before the 31st minute, and that set the tone.
And the fact that it's their first knockout win since 1986 gives it real weight.
It does. They also became the first CONCACAF side to knock out a CONMEBOL team in a knockout clash.
Javier Aguirre calling it a career highlight makes sense, honestly. That's the kind of night managers live for.
Especially in front of a home crowd at the Azteca, even with the weather delay before kickoff.
And Ecuador finishing with 10 men after the stoppage time red for Piero Hincapi adds to the chaos.
It does. Mexico now moves on to face England or DR Congo in the round of 16, back in Mexico City.
I love how this story is about more than just a scoreline. It's like a national exhale.
Exactly. It breaks a long stretch of heartbreak and resets the mood around the team.
Last one, and this one feels like a very different kind of sports debate. Vaibhav Sooryavanshi still waiting for an India T20I debut.
Yes, and the debate has real force behind it because he's only 15 and has already put up that eye-catching IPL 2026 season. 776 runs at a strike rate above 237, winning the orange cap.
That's such a ridiculous season that it almost feels fictional. And yet he still hasn't played a T20I.
The coaching staff led by Gautam Gambhir and Ryan Ten-Doshkate says the door is open, but they want patience and a long run.
They're sticking with Sanju Samson and Abhishek Sharma as the opening pair.
Yes, and that's the crux of it, stability versus disruption.
AB de Villiers wants India to test the teenager in a real setting, while Sunil Gavaskar wants that delaying the debut could pile pressure on a boy learning his craft.
And after the whitewash loss to Ireland, critics like Shastri and former captains argued even more strongly for giving him a chance.
So the question is whether the current approach protects him or just postpones the inevitable.
Exactly, and what's not clear yet is when India decides to make that call.
I do think this one is bigger than just one player. It's about how a team handles talent when everyone can see the upside.
That's the pattern here, and India will revisit it in the upcoming England runs.
Alright, that's us for today on Newspresso. Thanks for hanging out with us and stay tuned. We'll be back soon.
Stay tuned and have a good Friday.